Welcome back to day 107 of our chess journey to 1500 ELO on chess.com. So after yesterday's loss, I'm raring to go ahead here and get a win today. Honestly, I'm quite happy with how yesterday's game went, despite us losing in quite a crushing fashion as well, because I felt like there were a lot of lessons from yesterday's game, and I will definitely be reviewing the game in my free time as well. Now, let's just jump ahead into today's game and find an opponent. We get Arnold WP20 from Indonesia, rated 1427. So if we win today, it seems we're going to end up at 1490, getting +7 for a win. Let's see if our opponent aborts or not. It's been a while since an opponent aborted, but might very well happen. An abortion here, it's not quite an abortion. Well, but if our opponent aborts here rather, that might be a blessing in disguise, because it might mean we still have a chance of getting to 1500 if we win 2 games in a row. Let's say we get +8 and +9. Seems like our opponent might just abort here. They do, so let's just start a new game and find another opponent here. We get Hirun RP from Sri Lanka. A beautiful flag there, rated 1452. Well, I see we're still getting +7 for a win, so it doesn't change a whole lot. Let's go on ahead and play like this. We could play some kind of semi-symmetrical English. I'm not quite familiar with the English theory, but this is always a move, I think. So let's just play a symmetrical variation and see where we go from there. Could have played e5 as well, but it gets, I think, quite difficult if you don't know the lines. And I have not looked at the English in a while, and I've only ever looked at it from a white perspective. So this means we can play something like a Sicilian-esque setup as black, in a position that should probably be slightly better for us than if our opponent played 1e4, although I'm not quite familiar with all the moves. Or, well, most of them rather, but we'll see. Our opponent has yet to play a move here for move 3. Seems we're getting some slow opponents today. It might just be because of the time, was what I was going to say, but honestly those people here are probably in different time zones. Sri Lanka is not the same time zone as Norway at all, I think. No, definitely not. Currently here it's 6 a.m. almost, 5:58 a.m. I woke up at 2:30 today and could not fall asleep again, so I've been doing some math homework, etc. And, well, it's going to be a long day considering I woke up so early, so I thought I might as well just get the game done with now, so I don't come home after a long day and end up playing poorly, because I would be tired. So we could play like this, which was my intention here, but first of all we might want to address this. If we go here though, we could get slightly bullied. We might invite this, which might not be bad. And here, if we go like this, this might even be an option. Opening up our bishop here and opening up our queen. I think we'll go on ahead and play it like this. Since we just keep transposing to different English openings. English opening, Anglo-Indian, Queen's Knight variation, symmetrical, fianchetto, two knights fianchetto, Anglo-Indian defense, symmetrical, two knights fianchetto. We just keep going back and forth. I think bishop to g7 makes perfect sense. This is the ultra symmetrical line apparently. What a name. Well, it does feel quite symmetrical. I won't lie here. That's honestly a decision of our own. Could play d6 here to prevent this to some degree. The pawn here can't quite go forwards. We could push e5, but I don't quite like playing with this kind of a structure. This and this is stuck. This can't easily move. And here we could prepare to castle, and this looks decent. Apparently we're in a Sicilian. In a Staunton Cochrane variation. I think we've been through like 7 or 8 openings at this point. It's bizarre. Can we go here now? Well, this doesn't quite work, so if we do go here, we kind of end up having to take, which I do not quite want to do. So maybe just castling first. Seems decent. And then we'll play from there. I don't see an alternative really. Can't quite come in here yet. Could maybe move the knight. But this opening up of the bishop doesn't do a whole lot for us yet. So let's just castle and get to safety first. Us transposing does mean we're still in theory, which means the position should be quite equal. We're back to an English. A fianchetto ultra-symmetrical but winning system. Yeah, still, this does mean we're probably still in theory, or well, we should be. Which means this is still good for us. So what do we play here? Should identify some plans here maybe. What I'm looking at is this, but I don't quite like having to trade like this and giving up the bishop here, especially with our pawns here on dark squares. So alternatives might include a6 followed by b5. Playing on the queen side and trying to maybe get our bishop up like this and playing for an eventual d5 perhaps. Although, well, d5 might be difficult to play. Maybe f5 at some point, opening up this diagonal. I think a6 first maybe, taking away this and preparing for b5 seems to be decent. So let's go for it and see what our opponent responds with. I am realizing here, if we do win today, if we do get to 1490, if we get a strong opponent, that might be an absolute banger of a game, a really nice game, reaching our goal through beating a high rated opponent, if we do get one, of course. Because, well, if we win today, get to 1490, our opponent has to be quite a bit stronger than us for us to get plus 10, but we have faced those opponents at times. We would just have to clutch and get a win. I'm realizing here this doesn't necessarily work because of this, so we might want to, well, defend the knight first, maybe with queen to c7. which also kind of helps our control over this square, connects our rooks, etc. Looks decent to me. What can our opponent do? Well, developing this bishop is probably okay. This still doesn't work, I think, because of this. And the diagonal becomes a problem there. We see a3, I guess, looking to play this. We can't play this first because, well, this is an issue, as I mentioned. I don't expect us to have this because, well, I don't see any follow-up here. Our pawns might be awkward, not quite ideal. I don't think this works, or well, actually it kind of kills our opponent's plans, but if we go here, they could just pin us as well. Or well, prepare for a discovery rather, which is not ideal. We can't go here and take, because this knight covers this knight. What happens if this is played, or queen here and our opponent pushes? Can we push? If takes. Our opponent could take here, and we would have pawns here, and our opponent would have pawns here. Might be an option. Yeah, I think we'll go ahead and play for... Well, we could play b6 as well, but doesn't quite convince me. I think this might be better, although the more passive response here, playing for b6 instead of b5, might have been good as well. Let's have a quick look. What happens here? Takes. Doesn't work. We could play for this first, which our opponent is kind of mirroring the idea of doing here. It's probably a good move. This kills down all play on the queen side. This is no longer a move, but we can't play for b5 either, which doesn't necessarily thrill me. Yeah, let's go here. We're kind of getting a quite symmetrical position here, but we kind of invited those ideas when we played the symmetrical English. Main reason I did so is because I know it's quite easy to equalize as black without a lot of difficulties, so we don't have to worry too much about very tactical lines. Okay, so let's calculate quickly. Takes, and I don't quite think this works. Can't take this knight. What happens if we get this? This pawn is forced to take. Is this good or not? In this position, we could go b5. And if takes, we're still quite symmetrical. We have some pressure on this pawn, which might be good. I think we'll take. Our opponent takes as well. Okay, so do we have a better move than b5, or are we going to play that move? a5, and this seems bad. So I think we might have to push. There isn't a lot to play for here on the queen side now, but I think we have to do this. I don't see a good alternative now, at least. This could be played by our opponent, but then I guess we take and try to play with the two pass pawns. Our opponent takes here. I guess we're forced to take. So now we have quite a symmetrical position. So first of all, we'd like to move this knight to some square. Our opponent wants to trade off our dark squared bishop, which makes sense. What is our ideal square? This is good. Looks like a decent outpost, but well, it's kind of controlled right now, so we can't go there now. Maybe this. If we go here, we lose control over this, and the knight can jump in and be annoying. And what do we do there? Don't quite know. Is it best to move this knight? Because let's say this happens. That's bad, I guess, but this, and our queen gets hit. Maybe e6. Disallowing this, and maybe looking to play d5 at some point, which should be a decent pawn break. And then we'll look to play this bishop up here. I think this is a decent idea, so we'll go for it and see how our opponent responds. e5 might have been a move as well. I didn't quite know how to evaluate that, so e6 instead, I think is good, hopefully. I am kind of realizing this pawn might have been free. Was it? I guess not, because I was going to say when the bishop moves, there is an opened up attack against this, which makes it difficult to defend the pawn. Okay, so the queen comes up. First of all, we have to evaluate here. Can we take? Does this convince me? If this is played, this hits our queen and our knight. As I take, this might be played as well. And we don't really have a way of saving this pawn, so we don't win material. This bishop. We have this rook as well. Could play rook f to d8. Looking to play d5. I would like to do something about our knights. I don't quite love their positions. Could play this, but takes, rather takes, and this is not ideal because we get an isolated pawn, but our opponent does as well. Still, it doesn't convince me. This, and we lose our pawn. So yes, maybe just coming up with our rook here behind our pieces might be a decent way of going forwards. Now this bishop here. I guess we might be able to take now. What happens if this is played? Oh well, then our queen gets attacked, which might not be ideal. So maybe we slide on over first with the queen, which leads to quite asymmetrical position once again, but I think we have to dodge the rook, or our queen will be hanging in quite a few lines. Our opponent is playing a lot quicker than us, so we might have to speed up here. We'll see. This pawn might just be hanging now, because we have two pieces defending. This. If this is played, we come back with our knight and take. I think now we have our chance of winning a pawn. I don't expect it to be too greedy. Once again, not quite easy to evaluate, but I think this might be good. We don't have a lot of escaping squares for our knight. This is honestly quite surprising. Let's try to have a look at this here. This might be a move. Maybe this. Then takes. And we could go here, I guess, and get a pawn structure like this. I think I prefer going like this. I don't want to take with our e-pawn. I don't think that favors us. Our opponent takes. If we take here, we get hit with this. So let's take here instead. And we have, well, not the best pawn structure, but it shouldn't be the end of the world either. We have some pressure here against this pawn. Our knight needs to get moved at some point because, well, once this knight moves, there is always a discovery here. which might not be ideal. This might be an idea in some positions, but well, we can't go here yet because it loses the bishop. We get this. Does this maybe allow us to play d5? Then this might be a move. Maybe knight back first. And then looking to play this. Could go like this as well. I can't quite see a massive difference. And because I can't, or well, this might allow us to come here or here, which seems more active, so I guess maybe going here instead seems to be decent. Now this pawn is undefended. Oops. But do we have a good move? Could remaneuver here and hit the knight with tempo. I think going back and preparing this while hitting the knight is maybe better. Trying to play quickly now. We're down to 1 minute. There is a decent level of symmetry here, but there is still some imbalance. Let me calculate quickly here. Yes, we have one more piece. I think so, right? Yeah. That's a lot of pieces to calculate. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I think we should be good here. And we have this pawn as well. Our opponent takes. I guess, do we take like this or with the pawn? I think we take here. Might be the wrong decision, but we'll have to see. Oh yeah, this is actually maybe quite bad. But this might not be as bad. Here maybe. What I don't quite like here is our queen being pinned. Now maybe this. And we could look to play with this pawn. This is played. I guess we're first to take. Now our king is quite open, which, well, it's not ideal, but we'll have to do. Let's come back. Our opponent here intends to block our pawn from advancing. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, we have 4 defenders. Maybe sliding back here is okay. We don't have a lot of time, so we'll just play the move. Could maybe go here as well, or here, and kick the queen. Might do that next move. Playing this to allow d4. I think we're probably slightly worse here. Our king is open. Our pawn here is the target of the position, and well, this is a move I did not spot. But is it good? What happens if we go here? I think this might work. And if takes, we're good. Yeah, 20 seconds. We don't have enough time to think about it. This might be good for us, makes it a lot easier to keep our king safe if we trade queens. Our opponent takes here, forces our hand. We have to take. So what do we do now? 30 seconds, not a whole lot. Maybe going here and looking to double. Let's do this. Didn't see a more convincing move with our current time situation here. This is a mate threat. I guess we go here and fork the pieces. At the end, I guess we lose a pawn, but I did not see a better move once again. Just takes, and this can get taken. Well, not like this, maybe if this is played, we might have this here. Which, well, I think it still loses a pawn, but we don't have a lot of choices. This, no, honestly, I think we might be good here. I know our opponent has this. Oh, this works, I think. Oh no, not quite, because our bishop hangs at the end of the line. So maybe going here. Oh no, this loses. Yeah, this loses the game because takes, and we get forked. Not ideal, but it is how it is. Sometimes you win and sometimes you lose. Can we swindle a draw here maybe? Not likely. Might still try to do so. But if the position gets much worse, I might try. Well, I might try to we don't have a lot of time here for this. Yeah, maybe here. Could you get checked? No, this loses the pawn. I guess I'm kind of falling apart here. Not ideal, but it's difficult to be accurate when time is low. And yeah, this, and I guess we go ahead and resign and say thanks for the game. It's kind of funny because recently I've been mentioning in the comments I don't want to jinx it, but I don't hope we get a losing streak now, as we're this close to 1500. Second lose in a row now, or second loss rather. But well, I'm optimistic we will come up and back and get some good wins again. Let's have a look at the game review. Let's accept the friend request and check the analysis here. We played with 78.5 and our opponent played with 83.3. We had a blunder, 2 misses, 4 mistakes and 3 inaccuracies. Our opponent played quite well today, so kudos to them. Let's start the review and have a quick look. Well, this was all good. Theory, this was good as well. Apparently this idea was decent, but this worked too. At this point, we had a slightly worse position. Let's have a look at apparently b6 should have been played, which I did mention I was looking at, but it felt a bit too passive. But apparently it was not, it was just better. Should have went for it. Went for this slightly more aggressive option instead, which meant we had a slightly worse position. But well, we were up a pawn, had one more option or opportunity of taking it. Should have played this. Yeah, I should have definitely played e5, which would have been good. This bishop is dead. I was thinking, oh no, we're killing off our own bishop, but well, doesn't matter because our opponent's bishop dies as well, and we're just playing up a pawn. Played this instead, and well, this wasn't bad per se, but it was not ideal. With 2 minutes on the clock, did not see this move. Why is this so good? Honestly, I can't tell here. Takes on g2 is a decent move here, but why is the knight better here? There is some kind of remaneuver, but I think it might be a bit too computerish. This being called a miss is difficult to say here. Or well, I guess it makes sense. Yeah, of course. Because we lost the pawn, which means this was our only other option. Yeah, I had forgotten about that, but well, it is how it is. It is how it is. Should have pinned the knight here. And well, there are just loads and loads of different knight jumps and whatnot. It's difficult to find the best move. This was a slight inaccuracy. Why can we take this? Because takes, and we have this. A bit difficult to find with 1 minute, but I should have maybe looked for it. I thought this was untouchable. It was not. Still, well, I guess this was a critical moment. Shouldn't have allowed this because of the moves our opponent found, or well, at least up to this point. Here. But well, we're still honestly in equality here. We're still in equality. I was looking at this, but I think this was what I was looking at, but that doesn't work because of this. So I guess I was seeing ghosts here. I was probably just seeing ghosts. I was afraid of letting up our defense of the pawn. So I thought maybe going like this, but there was a tactic here, unfortunately, with this move forcing us to play this. And apparently this was really good for our opponent. It was quite good. If we go here now, we just lose our stuff. Neither of us saw queen to a7 though. this still is equal, but yeah, honestly, if this is equal, which, well, it makes sense, it's just a 1 pawn difference, then this should have been drawn. Is this the best move? I guess it is. And then here, this, here, and this is a drawn endgame. Got a bit more ambitious. I was looking at ways of checkmating and, well, didn't quite realize this line here last, which was played. And from this point on, there is no actual or no proper way of winning. It's not easy to do so, and blundered a fork at the end, and we resigned. Anyways, I think this was a nice and educational game. Would like to have a look at the English opening to get some more ideas of how we should play against it. Just I've been having not that much time lately, so I'm hoping to find some time, get ahead in terms of my schoolwork, so I can allocate some more time to looking at openings and studying chess. Anyways, guys, this has been our game for today. Thanks to our opponent, who played a great game today. Thanks for watching to the end of the video. This has been our game for today, and I hope to see you all tomorrow. Bye bye.